Next person, Shara Anchor.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sherry Anchor. I live in Port St. Lucie. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to change the mood a little bit. In the book, Diary of Anne Frank, is Anne's famous entry that reads, "Despite everything, I still believe that people are good in their hearts." Not long after that, she was killed in a concentration camp. Anne Frank was right that at least some people have good hearts. But for her, at that time and in that place, there weren't enough good people in her life. Why didn't people speak up about the atrocities committed against the Jews? I see at least three reasons: fear, willful ignorance, or that people bought the propaganda of that time. I'm here today to ask the City Council why it has decided to force a great harm on me, as well as Lisa LaCapara and Jerry Friedman. With 2 certified letters and 1 meeting with Vice Mayor Bartz, over the last 6 months, I have requested accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act 3 times. I have received no response. In those communications, I clearly described why the pulse-modulated radiation emissions from the Neptune R900 water meters the city is installing causes injury to my health, and that I need a zone of safety around my home where I am free of these emissions. Otherwise, as my medical history has proven, my health will substantially deteriorate to the point where I can no longer care for myself. I trust you all have seen my letters. The questions arise: why no response? Is it fear? Are the City Council members afraid? And if so, of what? I can say without a doubt that willful ignorance must be a factor, as I previously submitted a summary of research that establishes biological harm from this type of radiation in every system of the body. But just to be sure, I refer City Council members and city officials to the BioInitiative 2012 report, the most recent extensive analysis, over 1,800 peer-reviewed Science Journal articles. I quote from the chapter titles from the table of contents: evidence for genotoxic effects, including DNA damage, evidence for stress response, evidence for effects on immune function, evidence for effects of neurology and behavior, evidence for effects upon the blood-brain barrier, evidence for brain tumors, evidence for childhood cancers, evidence for effects on melatonin and how it affects Alzheimer's disease and breast cancer, evidence for breast cancer promotion, evidence for disruption by the pulsed signal, plausible genetic and metabolic mechanisms for bioeffects on living tissue, fertility and reproduction effects, fetal and neonatal effects, findings on autism consistent with radio frequency radiation. Or, as it is for many people who are just unaware of what's going on. Are you buying the corporate propaganda that these smart water meters are safe? I stand here today, and I stand for Lisa, who you will be hearing from soon, and for Jerry as well, to tell you they are not safe, not for us. And it is the medically vulnerable people like us that are their first casualties. We are the canaries in the coal mine. As I described in my communications with you, there is a safe solution: a wired fiber optic water meter system. The city of Fairfield, Iowa, stopped midway through its installation of radiation-emitting meters and adopted a fiber optic system that can interface with already existing infrastructure. Fairfield City Council listened to their citizens. They cared about the health of their citizens. Why doesn't the City Council of Port St. Lucie care about us? Why are you willfully injuring our health? And for Lisa, you're threatening her very life at this very moment. I must tell you that there is evidence, as we looked at, of seizures that arise from exposure to this type of radiation. Those of you with good hearts, and I know several of you have them because I have spoken to you, take a risk and stand up for what is right. All medically vulnerable residents must be guaranteed a safety zone free of these radiation-emitting meters. For Lisa, Jerry, and myself, at the very least, we need that action immediately. The best decision would be to change over to the fiber optic system in those neighborhoods where the medically vulnerable live, like myself. But in any case, we need these meters removed immediately. We are suffering. I am sick, and I'm getting worse. Thank you.
Please refrain from clapping until the end. Lisa, I'm sorry. Did you want to do it at the end or now?
I'll do it at the end.
Lisa Locapara.
I am Lisa Locapara. These meters are killing me. I have seizures from them. I contacted every single one of you. You will not return my calls. You refer me to your attorneys. Do you want me to have a grand mal seizure alone? Do you? I need CPR. If I have one. I had one and I called you. I called you, Mayor. You never returned my call. Never. I need them removed. I was not like this before, and I'm getting worse. Much worse. I cannot have radio frequency meters by my home. FPL moved them immediately after my seizure from my neighbor's home. I have a meter at the end of my driveway. I have them all around me. Your job is to protect us. What are you doing? You're knowingly harming my life. I am home alone. Do you not care about my life? Do you? Any of you? You must give me a zone of safety. You must. If I die, it's going to be on your head.
Steve Carroll.